4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hey everybody, you are tuned into Uptown with Mona, your go-to show for everything poetry, hip-hop, and entertainment. I'm your host, Mona Baudet, and we've got a dope show for you today. So sit back, relax, and let's get this party started right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your girl Mona B here. Listen, I am so excited. Y'all already know me. I'm excited about everybody, everything. I'm just glad to be here. So let me do my little intro thing, and then we're gonna get this party going because my homegirl is here. I haven't seen her in so many years, and I'm real interested to talk to her so you guys can get to know her. Like I want to get to know more about her because I haven't seen her in it's been at least 10 years I haven't seen her. So all right, here we go. Welcome to Uptown with Mona. We meet every Monday at 7 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and again on Thursday at 6 p.m. on withoutwarningradio.com. Go to Uptown with Mona, last name Baudet, on Facebook and join, because that page is feeling real lonely, y'all. I need y'all to join that page, right? Also, uptown.with.mona on Instagram, because that page is also feeling real neglected. Y'all need to join these pages, man. I need some stuff happening up here. And if you'd like to update, if you'd like to donate to Uptown with Mona, my Cash App is Uptown with Mona with the money sign. And if you have an interesting story or if you want to be interviewed, hit me up on uptownwithmona@gmail.com. Also, December 16th, Comedy in Harlem on 147th Street and St. Nicholas Avenue at 7 p.m. The Naughty List, a Mocha Lounge reunion. And it's going down. The Erotic Poets is going to be in full effect, and we're gonna have question and answer. We're gonna have some games. I don't know if y'all ever been to Mocha Lounge or if y'all heard about Mocha Lounge. Man, we had a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of times that we always went by the saying, what happens in Mocha stays in Mocha. But we had a lot of funny shenanigans going on up in Mocha Lounge every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. So y'all need to come out. Again, it's December 16th, 2024 at Comedy in Harlem. And it's going to be so dope. So if you need more information, you can hit me up. Or you could hit me up on Facebook, or you could email me at Uptown with Mona again. And, we'll do it like that. And, if you want to buy tickets are $20 in advance, $25 at the door. And we're looking to fill that place up. So I hope to see y'all there. Because I'm going to be on the mic. I'm going to be spitting poetry. And your girl, I don't even really do poetry anymore, but I'll do it for a Mocha Lounge reunion. So, again, I can't wait to see y'all. Hopefully I'll see y'all December 16th. So now let me get to this. My homegirl, Kim Miller. I think we hit a stage or two together with Clark when Clark was doing her shows. I think so. I don't remember. It was so much going on back then, but I think we did. So let me bring her up so she can, hold on one second. Let me get it together here. So she can, tell me, girl.
Hey!
Yeah, girl, here we go. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Yeah, man, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you. We did do Clark's thing a couple of times, right?
We sure did.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Clark was a little crazy, but I loved her. Let me tell you how even I would, oh my God, she used to make me want to hit her, punch her in the face. I would get so mad with her, but I'm grateful for her because she showed me how to perform.
Yes.
She really showed me how to get on stage and, perform. She would make me do it over and over. And I'd be like, why is this chick making me do this over? Now I understand why.
Yes.
And it was a few of us, William Washington. It was a few of us. We would be in the back talking about her, about how we can't stand her. Why she making us do all this extra but I'm glad she did. I'm really grateful for her for that. So what's going on
Absolutely.
with you, girl? How you doing?
I've been great. I got no complaints. God is good. And I've been busy. I've been facilitating, a
Mm-hmm.
speaker, still performing poetry, and I got deep
Okay.
into haiku. I
No
am
kidding.
Prince William County Poet Laureate Emerita. I was
Mm-hmm.
the first Black one they ever had.
Okay, and what is that? Can you explain?
Sure. So, poet laureates for different regions. This one was
Mm-hmm.
for Prince William County, Manassas, and Manassas Park, Virginia.
Okay.
And you basically apply for it and you go through all these steps. Different platforms do it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I was ultimately chosen in 2020, and I
Right.
was the first Black one for that region.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
real dope. Real dope. And you still doing poetry.
Absolutely.
I know, right? It's in our souls. We can't
Of
help it. We
course.
can't help it. As every day I say, I ain't doing this shit no more. I'm so done with it. And somebody will say, "Hey, Mona, man, I need you to, you know, it's in me."
Absolutely. The
Yeah,
pen goes where the pen goes.
that's it. It does, right? So, okay, so it goes like this. Hold on, let me move this over here because normally I have my girl Tamika. Tamika is not here with me today, y'all. So Mona's doing it on her own. So I be fucking shit up over here. So, here we go. That's the ticker of if you're interested, if you want to donate, if you wanna email me, everything is there. So it goes like this: 16 questions. I call them 16 bars.
All right.
16 random questions. I have a list of questions for you, and we just chit chat, talk, and everybody gets to know you, and I get to know more about you, and we just gonna have a little fun here.
I love it.
We take our time. There's no time limit. We just take our time and do what we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
And now here we go. I'm gonna ask you the first question. What drew you to poetry as a form of expression?
I get that question often, and I really, as a Christian, and I tell people I'm not that kind of Christian because, some of us
Okay.
have gone off the judgmental wagon. Just saying the truth.
Yeah.
I think I was drawn because I thought the Bible was like poetry. I like some of the scriptures to me sounded like poets,
Okay.
like a poet wrote it, like, it sounded poetry. It sounded
Okay.
like poetry, literal poetry to me.
Right.
And then at one point, I felt like the Lord was like, you're a poet. I'm like, who? Who's a poet? I was great in math, horrible in English. So
Right.
when you said poetry, I'm like, no, I didn't even, when I say I knew nothing about poetry, I mean nothing. I didn't
Okay.
follow Nikki Giovanni,
Wow.
none of them.
My
None of them.
favorite. That's my favorite
Nothing.
poet. My
Nothing.
favorite poet of all.
I couldn't quote a poem from anybody. I just
And
wasn't
how'd you get
interested.
involved? How'd you get into this? I mean, if you never did poetry, I never heard that you never did poetry, and one day one day you just said roses are red, violets are blue.
No, well, when I say I never did poetry, I never knew who the poets were.
Okay.
The poets of, the Maya Angelou's, Nikki Giovanni, etc. I
Yes.
never knew any of them. I never read any poetry.
Okay.
So what I considered poetry was certain scriptures of the Bible. So then
see.
I would write in high school, I'd write like little rhyming poems and stuff, but it wasn't serious. It wasn't like, well, let me go perform this. Under no circumstance was this performance poetry. This is just me writing a couple of things and call it a day. And it wasn't consistent.
Right.
When you get into poetry, when I say into poetry, poets know what I mean. When poetry becomes you and you become poetry, you write whenever the spirit moves you, whenever something pisses you off, or you're happy, you're sad, you're in love, I broke up, you write all the time. But back
Right.
I was just like, this is just a little something. But I would never call myself a poet. I was horrible at spelling. I hated English. So I was great in math. I thought I'd go into something in math.
And I'm the opposite. Math was not my strong point. I know how to count money.
Right.
Math was not my strong point. Like X equals Y to the. I don't understand that. I know how to do it, but I just never really. It's like, huh? But give me some money, and I know how to count money.
And that's not a bad skill.
So math wasn't my strong suit. My strong suit was in science.
Huh.
I actually wanted to be a doctor when I was young.
Nice.
Yeah. Then I met a boy, and You know the story.
Oh, we all know. We've all done it.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember those first few lines you did when you first?
No clue. No clue. No remembrance of any of it, really. I remember at one point going to Harlem. This obviously was years ago when Human Bookstore, before it closed and reopened.
Human, yes.
Yes.
Human.
I went there.
I
I'm
forgot
like,
about that.
yeah, remember that spot? I love that place.
Mm-hmm.
And they were having an open mic, and I said, "This is my time to go perform for people," because I'd never performed.
Who was the? Do you remember who the MC was?
No, I mean this was a while back. I'm gonna look it up now. I'm curious myself, but
I think Human Bookstore closed back in the beginning, like the 2000s, right? Something like that. They shut down.
Yeah,
I remember where. I don't know. I didn't hear that. I know that the last time I went to Human Bookstore, DMX did a book signing.
Wow.
That was a long time ago. And that was when that had to be, I don't even remember. It had to be somewhere like the beginning of the 2000s or the end of I don't remember. It was such a long time ago, but it was so dope to see him, even though he was all messed up, he still,
right.
He was a phenomenal poet. He sure was. And he was very religious. I loved hearing his poem. He would say his poems, his prayers at the end of his ciphers and whatever it was he was doing. He was
really?
He would say his little prayer. He would say a prayer for everybody. It was dope.
Wow.
Very nice. Yeah. Okay, let's go down to number 2. How do your personal experiences influence your writing?
Oh, definitely. I facilitate a parenting classes for the county.
Okay.
So that is a big part of my writing, parenting and bad parenting. Even though I came up with 2 great parents, my father is deceased now, my mother's still alive.
God bless him.
I write, yes, thank you, Lord.
God be pleased with him.
Yes, absolutely. I just feel the need to write because I know so many people who didn't have that experience.
Gotcha.
So a lot of people write all these beautiful, loving poems to mom. And when I write a poem and state it about mom is trash, even though mine wasn't, people are always like taking it back. Oh, you're talking about mothers. I'm like, everybody in this room didn't have a great mother. And people like that are sick of hearing that great mommy poem because they want to hear something that they can identify with. They want to hear someone talk about something that they've felt hurt, they've gone through. Same thing with fathers. I do great father poems, but most of them are not, even though I had a great one. Because people need the opposite. So personal experiences are included because I did do one on an ex because we all got one. We all have one. And I don't do a lot of love poems, even though I've been married for forever.
How long have you been married?
Over 20 years.
No kidding. Wow. I always wanted to do that, but it wasn't in the cards for me.
I understand. It's a work in progress. It's always.
I'm sure. I don't know if I could even do it now at my age. I'm almost 60 now. I'm like, man, I don't know if I don't even like people in my house. Let me tell you, my grandkids come over to visit me. And I'm like, they're here Friday, only here till Sunday, Mona. And it's not that I don't love my grandkids, because I love my grandkids, but it's my space.
Exactly. It's your space. It's the way you want it. It's stuff is where you left it.
Right. You got the kids leaving dishes everywhere, and I'm constantly washing dishes behind you. Pick up that. Stop making all that noise. Stop running. Stop this, stop that. And the older ones, I told you about eating in the room. Stop eating in the room. And Grandma, I forgot. Grandma always, I'm like, look, I walk around with a tape recorder. Do this. Stop doing that. I told you about that. Stop doing that. And then I don't sleep all weekend because I'm listening to make sure there's nothing going on with anybody. Because my oldest is 17. He'll be 18 on the 19th. My granddaughter she'll be 17. And the 2 little ones are going to be 11 and 12 and 13. 11 and 13. So it's 4 of them. and they all run in the pack. My daughter has them which is, she's an excellent parent, and has them where one go, everybody go. Everybody look out for everybody. Everybody look out for each other. When one gets up and one is hungry, Grandma, I'm hungry. I said, go in the freezer and get something to eat. They get something for everybody to eat.
Beautiful.
Which is so wonderful. I love that about her. Yeah, but yeah, I didn't, it wasn't in the cards for me, the marriage thing. I tried it a couple times, but I like being by myself. I'm happy for you. You've been married how long? 20 something years? 30 years?
Over 20 years.
Goodness gracious.
Yes.
That's something else. I know my uncle, man, I'll be pleased with him. He just passed away a month ago. They were married for 70 years.
Wow, that's a whole life.
That's a whole life. And I would, because I'm a jokester. I joke a lot.
Right.
And I would call my aunt. I would call her and I would tell her, Titi, you're not mad? You're not tired of Papi yet? She would tell me, Mona, you crazy. I'm like, ain't y'all tired of each other already? I've been together for like ever.
That's funny.
And he just passed away, and I know she's lonely. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I mean, what do you do now after being with someone? And that's another reason probably why I never really thought about, getting married or whatever, because that's heartbreaking.
Yes.
That's heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
But it's great when it's happening, because you have so many memories, which is wonderful. That's the great part about it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right, let's get to it. See, I be going off topic. I do this shit all the time. I can't.
No worries.
I can't help it. All right, number 3. Can you describe your typical writing process?
Yes, I am a paper poet. I like paper. I like the feel of paper. I only write with paper and pencil. I will not write with pen.
Why?
Because I like the ability to erase, and I like lead for some reason. Pen is permanent, and I think when you're writing a poem, it's not permanent yet. Because for those you don't know, we edit our stuff. There's very few times you write a poem from start to finish and don't touch it. That's a rarity. Right. You normally edit it and then re-edit it.
I always edit. I may write 3 lines and then I'll stop. And then I'll come back to it and write a couple more lines.
Absolutely.
And then I may see something outside down the block when I'm walking, and I'll jot that down, so yeah. That's but the pen thing, the pencil thing, that's so old school. That is so old school.
Yeah. Now, unless I'm writing a book, if I know I'm doing a book, then I'll do it on computer, because my first book I did like that. I wrote hand and then I transcribed it to put it online. I said, I'll never do that again. Right. It takes double the amount of time now to take all that stuff and type it up in a computer. Yep. So I'm like, book, no, straight online. Yes. But if I'm just writing to write, I prefer paper and pencil, and I may write full. I think there's only one poem I've written from start to finish and never changed. Outside of that, I'll just write to a certain point, then like you said, come back for another couple of lines. Right. Sometimes I'll wait until after I performed it once to decide if I like it or not. Okay. I just found my only poetry book with a bunch of papers and stuff. I'm like, oh shit, I've been looking for this. I was and I'm reading from when I started to where I write, how I write now, and I'm like, wow, okay. Yes. Because I learned the difference when writing erotic poetry from writing dick or pussy to say yoni or stuff like that. I know the difference now. There's a difference between smut and I'm an erotic poet. There's a difference between smut and erotic poetry. Exactly. There's so many different genres, and people don't understand poetry is a garden. It's not a flower.
It sure is. I love it. All right, here we go. Number 4. Who are some poets that have inspired you? Elaborate. I want to hear it all. Elaborate. I want to hear it all.
Inspired me. That's a tough one, because there was, when I first got back into poetry, when I moved to Virginia, there was a group called they had a place called Spirits and Lyrics.
Okay.
And they had this platform they called the open mic area, or the mic session, the comfort zone.
Oh, wow.
And when I went there, I remember I'm just getting back, questioning yourself and blah, blah, blah. Yes, poets question themselves. I don't care how long you've been doing it. You write a new poem, you question yourself. We're not questioning whether or not we're poets. We're questioning whether or not this poem is the way we want it. So, So I went, performed, and they were so welcoming and they were so inspiring. And at that point, I'm just like, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. And they were like, no, we see greatness in you. You have all these possibilities. And I'm like, who are you looking at? What are you talking about? So it was Sal, Renee, Jeff, Asha, all of them inspired me because they do stuff their own way. They weren't going to follow the mold, or, as you know, the clicks that there are in poetry, or the cadence, because you and I both know, there's cadence replicators, as I call them.
I don't spit like that, right? I don't spit like that.
Exactly. That you like, is that so-and-so? And you look up, oh, it's not. Oh, they sound like, or the style is similar. And styles are going to be similar because, there's only so many ways to spit. But normally, you got to be careful, which is, people always ask me, what would you tell a young poet? I tell them, don't listen to no poetry. Right. And I've gotten into arguments with poets about this. And I say this because if you listen to other poets, or if you get a mentor too early, you'll copy that because it's instinctive. Whatever you hear more, if you go up all day on Aretha Franklin, you're going to emulate Aretha Franklin. If you go up all day on Barbra Streisand, you're going to emulate Barbra Streisand. Don't get into the poetry itself until you solidified your style. Now, you can still grow like we both have in your own style. But if you start too much, I'm going to read all this poetry, you're going to indirectly start copying it. So,
It's funny you say that. When I first started, well, not when I first started, when I first discovered, let's say, Nikki Giovanni, or, because I used to write little pieces here and there, but it was really, I never spit out loud until I did my first Microphone Fiend show in 2010. January, the day before my birthday, January 24th, 2010 was my very first Microphone Fiend, and I spit my first poem there, right? Then I started reading poetry, and I fell in love with Nikki Giovanni. I fell in love with Sonia Sanchez, and I fell in love with Michelle Ndiacello. Those are my three favorite poets. Three favorite. But Nikki Giovanni has to be my all-time number one in the top three. She's my number one. So when I first started, I think I probably may have sounded like her a little bit.
Okay.
But I don't mean when I spit.
Right.
Just how I wrote in the beginning. Right. I was like, damn, I like her style because she's like so fucking ghetto, and so then that's me. That's me. That's how I spit. I talk like her. Right. And that's how I talk when I spit my poetry, and I make it funny. But I'm just, I love poetry, girl.
Yes, me too.
I love everything about it. I get mad.
Yes.
And I say, you know what? I ain't doing this shit no more. I'm so over this shit. And then I go to a poetry, like I go to maybe a poetry event, and just to listen, because I don't really go out anymore. And I hear these new poets. They all sound alike. They all sing when they spit. You know what I'm talking about? They'll sing. They sound like they're singing. They all sound the same. And I'm like, y'all all been hanging out together. Y'all been working together, because I don't know.
Could be the same mentor.
It could be. Yeah, I think so. It could be. Okay, next question. What themes do you often explore in your work?
Definitely parenting, which I talked about before. I talk about poets because poets have gotten so judgmental that I address some of that in some poetry, that, poetry police and,
The poetry police.
Yeah, it's got. I mean, in the open mic
Who are the
host.
poetry? Who are the poetry police?
Well, the
I mean, I don't mean literally, but I'm
right,
not literally. I just want to know what's the description of a poetry.
The poetry
officer
would be someone who has decided that they are the gatekeeper for any sort of poetry. It could be a genre.
Okay.
It could be whether you read or not. It could be cadence. And they decided they are the defining judge, jury, and executioner of what a poet is and what a poet isn't. And once you give your pen over to another human being to define who you are or aren't, they have too much charge in your life. If you say you're a poet and you write and you don't write like me, as far as I'm concerned, you're a poet because you said you were. Who am I to judge your pen? Once we start with that, we get too far. Now, if it's a finite writing thing, like I do haiku, which is 17 syllables, I do the non-traditional kind. 17 syllables, 17 syllables. You can't make it 20 syllables. Well, I don't think it should be defined that. Okay, no. That's when they are correct.
Haikus is 575, right?
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's either 17 syllables or it's not. And I get when we're performing it, we may not have it memorized, so it may be off a syllable. As long as you wrote it correctly, I'm good with that. My problem is that people argue me, go, well, that's 30 syllables. I'm like, that's not a haiku, sweetie. I don't know who told you it was, but it's no. I performed it someplace and they said it was good. I didn't say it wasn't good. I just said it wasn't a haiku. It's defined. Now, if you just want to write, then do you. But you can't take over an art form and then change the parameters for it.
Yes.
So that part I agree with. I disagree with the people like, if you don't have it memorized, you're not a poet. Who are you to tell somebody that because it's not memorized, they're not a poet? Mm-hmm. That's ludicrous to me. I know people who have memory issues. I know people who have some sort of trauma, so they can't memorize poems. And I know people who just get too nervous. They just can't do it. They're not unwilling to memorize.
Having the paper gives them that shield.
Yes. And it helps them get comfortable. And I'm like, if that's what helps you get comfortable, use every tool in your arsenal to be comfortable. Don't let someone else tell you that you're not it because you don't meet their standards.
Right. My first show was with Freak Nasty, with Ainsley Burroughs. And the first thing he said was, Mona, you can't read that poem. You have to memorize it. And I'm like, oh, I can't remember. He's like, Mona, you got time, memorize that poem. And that's how I started to, and I still fucked up that piece on. I mean, and everybody was so welcoming.
Right.
Even though I messed up, I was like, oh shit, I forgot my line. Everybody just started screaming and
yes.
And it was like, okay, and then it clicked. Like, when I did that show was when I realized, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Yeah, but I still have memory issues and I still carry my paper sometimes.
Yes.
But I keep it on my phone now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Put it on my phone and I'll have it just in case I forget my lines. But I do the same poems over and over. I'm not right. I don't write anymore. I don't write. I haven't written in a long time. Like I'll write a paragraph. I may come back to it 2 months later. Like, what the hell was I thinking about when I wrote that?
That sounds pretty good.
Right, that sounds pretty good. Let me add something else to that.
Exactly. Let me finish this one off. Exactly.
Oh, man. All right, here we go. Number 6. How do you feel about the relationship between poetry and other art forms?
Ooh, I use the phrase, poetry is the last horse over the fence. And what I mean by that, it is, in my opinion, one of the most disrespected art forms.
Okay.
Because when people have an event, they'll pay the caterer, they'll pay the space, they'll pay the DJ. Then they say, oh, I need entertainment. Let me get a singer. Okay, pay the singer. And then, oh, we still need time. Oh, it'd be great to have a poet. Hey, would you mind coming performing for exposure?
Right. You just paid everybody else.
Right.
And Exposure? Are you fucking kidding me?
Exactly. I'm like, does my mortgage company take exposure? No, they don't.
My thing is, true story. I had someone recently, Mona, I'm doing a blah blah blah. I don't have a lot of money, but I can give you $50 or whatever. Normally, I would have said, hell no. I don't do poetry for $50 anymore. That shit is crazy. That shit was 20 years ago. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna go, but it's the thought.
Yes. It's the thought that get a little poet. First of all, there's no little poet. Any person, and I say that, I'm not saying there's not people who are in their infancy in poetry. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you're looking to hire someone who you respect to perform, there's no such thing as little poetry to them. We are trying to decide, what we're going to say. Are we going to have to write something new? How long is this set? How am I going to string this together? Let me feel off the audience. The audience isn't feeling this kind of theme. Let me change because I got this second theme in my back pocket in case this theme didn't hit. If the energy in the room switched, I'll go to here. Okay, they're feeling this. Okay, I'll go down this path. Now, what am I going to wear because I want to have a certain look about myself when I get on this stage? Do I want to look plain? Do I want to look ordinary? Do I want to look cute? Do I want to, whatever the case may be.
Yes.
Now, am I bringing merch with me? All these things. So this is not a 5-second. I don't care even if I only do one poem. It's, well, Kim, you only do up there for 5 minutes. Why should we pay you?
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter. The person planned and prepared to get there for 5 minutes. And you don't say that to the singer who sang one song.
Hello. Yep.
You wouldn't say, "Oh, you only sang one song. We're not going to pay you." You say, "You get that check for great."
You was like, "Ooh, that check was that song was Yeah. But we get disrespected.
Yes.
Because it's like we're not because we're doing poetry and we're not singing or whatever the case.
Right.
We're not as important. I may be saying the wrong word. I may not be using the right word, but I get it, and it's. We've been through so much.
We have, and finally the Grammys got a spoken word category.
I heard Talam Lacey is up for a Grammy. He didn't. No, I heard he didn't. He didn't win. I don't think he won, but he was nominated.
Oh, okay. They just came out, I think, a couple of days ago with the ones for 2025. I haven't really dived deep into it. I mean, I think it's great there's a category. I don't know the criteria they use to figure out if the person is a spoken word poet or not, because that's another avenue. Because if you're going to have a category, how are you going to categorize a category? It gets murky, because then what's a spoken word poet?
Yeah.
So, and I don't have the answer to that. I'm not saying I have all the answers to that, but I'm saying, what if I just decide, what if I'm, let's say, a DJ?
Okay.
And I've never done poetry in my life, but I say, I'm going to do a spoken word poetry album, and I do one. And they credit it. Is that okay? Because I did the album, but I've never done it? I don't know. These are the sort of questions that, we're going to have to look at now that there's a real category and there's people trying to get into it.
Yeah, I like doing erotic poetry. They look at erotic poetry different, period. A lot of people don't like erotic poetry. A lot of people, I don't want to hear that shit all night. Yeah, but I don't want to hear that shit you saying all night either. I get offended. I get real offended. I highly insulted. How dare you? My shit is good. Be ready to fight.
Yeah, any poet that's willing to hit a stage has worked for it, period.
Hello. That's right, exactly. Yeah. All right, number 7. What do you believe makes a poem powerful?
For me personally, it doesn't have to be personal to me. So that's number 1.
Right.
People make that mistake. I have to touch everybody in the room. You write your poem in a way that it was supposed to be written. Whatever your pen takes you, your heart follows, your soul takes you. Right. That's got to be true to you. You're not writing for them. You're supposed to be following what your pen is telling you. You're not writing for applause. You're not writing for snaps. You're writing to get your message out. So get your message out. So that's 1.
Right.
You don't have to be the loudest poet. I'm a loud poet. You don't have to be a loud poet. because there's people I know who are poets who voice never raised, and they come up with some of the most powerful pieces that I'm on the edge of my seat going, okay, what's she gonna say next? So
Right.
it doesn't have, you don't have to be a loud poet. That's a misconception that a lot of people have. Do your true cadence, because it shows. If it's not you, I tell people this all the time. When you pretending not to be who you are in poetry, it shows.
Yep.
It just does. If you're a loud person and you normally loud, like I'm a lot louder as a poet than the way I talk. But people know it's a normal progression for me. It doesn't look like it's an act. It's who I am.
Right.
But when you have the ones who are like, everything is that way, you're like, that doesn't feel authentic. And what you never
sound
want.
right.
Yes, that's it. It doesn't sound.
Yeah,
It doesn't sound for
right.
real. You lost me, and then you're like, whatever you're saying, I'm not even paying attention.
Right.
So for me, powerful is authentic, and it has to have a point. I don't like poetry without a point. I don't like this so highbrow, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't like that you've ended the poem and I don't know you ended the poem. I like something, even if it's short, obviously, because I do haiku, even if it's short or if it's 5 minutes long. If at the end, I get that it's ended, I understood what it's about, I got some food from what you delivered.
Right.
You cooked it, I caught it. I may not have caught what you cooked, but I caught some ingredients, or I made my own meal out of what you did. I'm good with that. That's powerful to me. If I listen to you for, let's say you have a feature set for half an hour and 20 minutes, I ain't got no clue as to what none of your poems are about, that's not powerful to me. That's not powerful.
Sitting there like, what the fuck was she talking about?
Exactly. I'm like,
yeah, right. Like, what are you talking about?
right.
Yeah. Have I been to any sets like that? I don't. Probably. Because I know after a while, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go.
Right. You just start like picking up your phone before you're like,
right. Picking up your phone. Let me see who I could text.
Right.
See what time it is. I can get the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
wow.
Be you.
Exactly.
I like it or I don't. I grasp it or I don't. But not highbrow. No.
Yeah. And a lot of these new poets, I love them. I love their work, but a lot of them, I don't know about now, but I know there was a minute where they all sounded the same.
Yes.
It was I don't know about now, right? I don't know. It was a few years ago. They were all, I was like, what the fuck?
It was a constant trend of and then you're gonna go down here, you're gonna go
right.
So yeah, luckily,
it sounded like they're singing.
Right. So luckily, again, I think lately, a lot more diversity, and people have been, some of them have been called out on it, really? Not meanly, but to say, hey, use your own voice. Your own voice matters.
Right.
I understand you think so and so is powerful, and they are. They don't.
Yes.
They all that.
Yes.
But we want to hear you, not them.
Right. Me too. That's right. All right. How do you handle writer's block when it strikes?
Now,
have you ever had writer's block?
No. And I'm going to say this because people hate when I say that. they come for me when I say no. Okay, hear me out before you come for me. So the reason why I say no is because I personally believe, and now I'm not going to speak for everybody. This is just my personal belief. If it's different from you, it's different for you. I believe that there's no such thing as writer's blocks most of the time because we are set on writing this poem on this subject. And we call it writer's block because we can't write on that particular thing.
Okay.
I think if you go and let your pen go where it goes, you'll write on something else. You don't necessarily have writer's block. You have write on this instead and not that.
Yes. So, I've been writing a little bit more on other stuff besides erotic poetry lately. And I'm like, well, what the fuck is that? That's not what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
But, the pen will, as I always say, the pen goes where the pen goes. And we are, and I get it. And I get it for those of you, Kim, you don't get it. I have a commission piece. I get it. Because I've had a couple commission pieces too. I'm like, okay, I get the pen goes where the pen goes, but I got a deadline here. And I need for the mind and the pen to come on now, line up for a sister, because she has a deadline here. I get that. But even in between those, I'll jump to a whole nother subject. And then I'll come back. And when I come back, I'll read something that I wrote. And well, this part is dope, but this part got us. If I switch this and add this, so sometimes that break gives you just what you need to finish it, or to edit, or to go away you wasn't gonna go the first time you wrote it.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. Have I had writer's block? Hell yeah, I've been in and out of writer's block with my form of poetry since my son passed away, and then when my mom passed away, I went through it again, and I'm like, all right, I get this. Mona, get your shit together, girl. Let's get it together. It comes when it's ready.
Yes. Absolutely.
Like you said, when it comes when it's ready. I may write 2 sentences, and then that'll be it for now. And then, like right now, I have one piece right now that I did like a few months back, and I wrote a few lines, and then I looked at it the other day, and I'm like, what the hell am I gonna add to this shit?
Yes.
And put it back down, because I know it'll come to me eventually. And I tell other poets the same thing. Don't rush it.
Yes, that's a mistake.
Don't rush
I get it. Commission's different. I get it. You got a deadline because you got to.
Right.
I get it. But even that, go out. I'll sleep on it. Okay, well, I'll come back to you tomorrow.
Right. And that's it. I'll get back to you tomorrow. And if nothing works, I'll try it the next day.
Exactly.
I'll try it that night. But it'll come when it comes.
Absolutely.
You know. So,
agreed.
All right, number 9. Can you share a particular poem that holds a special meaning for you?
Wow, a particular poem. That's hard, in poetry land. I know people like, y'all have favorites. Yeah, we do. We have our favorite poems.
I do.
One that, there was one I was never going to do because I thought people would take it the wrong way. Okay. And it's not a typical poem. When I say typical, you get what I mean. Because sometimes people think poetry has to have a certain flow to it. It doesn't have that flow to it. Okay. And it has a different ending to it. So people were like, and it became my most requested poem. A poem I was never going to speak became my most requested poem.
Why not? Why weren't you going to speak it?
Because I thought people would misunderstand the point. I thought I made it to be a ha-ha moment at the poem and the kind of funness, but I thought people would take it too seriously and be like, oh my goodness, that's horrible. How is that, blah, blah, blah. And people took it exactly how I wanted it. So I was like, okay, Kim, so you're overthinking it. You're overthinking it.
Yeah. You want to spit it?
Sure. This is a poem between a husband and a wife. He's just got home from work. Honey, here's your drink, just the way you like it. Can you help me fold these letters? I have to mail them out for this event. Well, I think this is as good a time as any to be telling you how I've been feeling. I've been battling to breathe. I'm just existing moment to moment. White life is a weight pressing down on my chest, and I don't want to breathe in air not meant for me. I've been walking through life like I've been sentenced to live. This painted on happiness has been muddied by truth. I have been living in pain that I just want to escape from. I see this bridge and it's finally my turn to jump. I just want darkness to envelop me. Love is something I don't want to taste, smell, or feel anymore. I'm done. He stopped and looked at me. Don't do this. I notice your once bright aura has weakened. Give me a chance to sparkle that growth in your eye. I'd give anything to see that smile you used to possess that lights up a room. The world would miss you. I would miss you. Don't go. Oh, I think you misunderstood. That's not my suicide note. It's yours. Wow. Right about now, you should feel your vision getting blurry, breath getting shallow. Well, I'd love to stay and watch that last bit of breath leave your body, but my best friend, your mistress, is feeling suicidal also.
Wow. Wow. Oh shit. I don't even know what to say. What do you say after something like that? I probably sound like every one of the people that heard that poem the first time. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, wee. Okay. I get it.
Yes, yes.
And how did that poem come about? How did that poem?
I was determined to write two people poems, as I call them, two-person poems, or this, back and forth, and that people can understand that poets do that. You can even have a 3-4 person poem.
Right.
We just write outside the box. It doesn't have to be a one person, our point of view. And we write about pain we have an experience.
Right.
Just so we can get that established.
Right.
And I thought this would be fascinating. I said, we do a husband and wife and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it has to be a twist to it, though. I just didn't want it to be a typical 2-person poem.
Yes.
And at the end, they walk off into the sunset, type of poem. Right. I wanted it to be something where I take them here and then, no, that's not where I'm going. So the point of that was to do a 2-person kind of poem that was taking you down a path that you thought you were going at the end, going, oh no, we're not going there. And not only we're not going there.
Exactly. Right. Like, oh shit.
Exactly.
He killed them.
Exactly. No, he committed suicide.
He committed suicide. Right. Oh
right.
My God.
And then people start going, wait a minute, you had him fold up his own suicide note. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Oh shit. I just caught that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. That's dope. That's dope. Next question. What role do you think poetry plays in society today?
I think poetry is the truth teller of truth you don't want to hear. I think poetry is a pair of scissors that cuts open people's closed-mindedness.
Okay.
I think poetry is a way of feeding you information that you would not take in any other form.
Mm-hmm.
I think poetry is essential to a truth or an emotion that you would not hear from anybody else in any sort of way, in any sort of format. You can go to a poetry event and be like, well, I think all women are blah, blah. I think all women are stupid. And then someone gets up and does a poem on how women have struggled and how women are that. And you're like, don't think about it that way. Huh.
Right.
Wait a minute. Now, if they got up and said to you, the same person that got up to you and said to you, women aren't stupid. Women, oh, there you go, defending yourself, of course, you're going to say that, little lady.
Right.
It's totally different. But when someone gets up, or even if a man got up and did the poem about how strong women are and how great women, the guy's like, wait a minute, this dude just talked up about, I never would have thought about it that way. So poetry is that entry to having an uncomfortable conversation with someone about something that you, the cousin, the brother, the significant other, the mother, or the parent can't have, that the poet can have that conversation.
Wow. Okay. You hear that? It's raining. It's raining outside. You hear it?
A little bit.
You hear it a little bit. It's raining. Wow. I love the rain.
Me too.
Number 11. How do you feel about sharing your work in public readings?
Now, I am one of those people who love public speaking. And I get that a lot of people don't like it, so don't come for me. So,
I don't like public speaking, but I'll do it if I have to.
Got it. Yeah. A lot of people in my life are like, if I have to, I'll do it. But doesn't bother me. I love public readings, 10, 20, 1,000, doesn't matter how many people. I just enjoy it. And to me, I look at it as an opportunity. Somebody here, if I do my job right, in my opinion, somebody here will get something. I was supposed to feed somebody something. And I tell poets this all the time. Stop explaining your poems. Stop explaining your poems.
Right.
Stop explaining your poems. Because I've seen a poet deliver this beautiful poem. People in the audience crying. One person's like this. Another person's staring off. And they get up to go speak to the poet, right? Because the poet just finished. Yeah. And the poet went, let me tell you what that poem's about. And they went down the rabbit hole and explained. The person who was crying stopped. The person who was like this said, oh, no, that's never mind. So all these people were like, who about to get up to speak to this poet stopped because you gave them food and then you snatched it back.
Right.
Stop snatching it back.
Yes.
Whatever they got from it, they were supposed to get. Leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it, because we're it's hours and we want you to understand, but you don't understand what I was going through at the time. But I get it. I get it. But you also don't want to remove food from somebody's mouth. Some of you went down to the stomach and took it back. They already digested it and you took it back.
They went around the block, through the bushes and through the hill and through the daisies and shit, and then said, you know what? I don't want to do that. I'm going to go this way instead.
Exactly.
Come on, man. Shut up.
Exactly.
Said it, but spit the poem.
Exactly.
I don't like, I mean, and I like I said, I don't want to sound mean or whatever,
right,
or like I'm hateful, but I really don't like. I'd rather just say the poem. You don't have to tell me the whole story behind the poem. Let me make my own assumption. Just like you said, let me make my own assumption. Shut the fuck up and spit the poem.
Spit the poem. There you go.
That's the Aquarius in me, because I can only handle like a little bit at a time. Like, just say what you got to say. Don't go all around the bushes with it, you know?
Right.
It's crazy. Number 12. What advice would you give to aspiring poets? You already started.
Yes. First of all, don't listen to any poets, whether they're new, whether they're seasoned poets, even someone as great as Maya or Nikki, all those great poets. Don't listen to anyone. And I'm not saying that because they're great. I'm just saying you don't want to develop a style similar to theirs just because that's all you read.
Right.
Don't even go to open mics. Not yet. Don't go to any performances. Don't get a coach. Don't get, whatever they call themselves. Don't get it. Find out who you are as a poet. You may want to just be a poet. Nothing wrong with that. Poets basically read their poems. Spoken word poet is supposed to make you feel their poems. Right. You may be a reader, just getting up and just reading it out. If that's who you are, be that poet. If you're ones, I gotta move, I gotta speak. Sometimes I gotta scream. Sometimes then that's spoken word. Be that spoken word poet. But be true to who you are, and you can't find that out. It's as soon as you go, you know what? I think I'm a poet. Let me go to this open mic. No, because you're gonna see somebody there that's gonna be impressive, and you're gonna be like, I need to be like them. That was dope. What did they do? No. Take your time. Figure out who you are as a poet. Once you've decided who that is, not you can't grow. Once you decided who that is, then go to the open mics. Then read all the poetry you can, different styles, different methods. Go look at the greats in their film. Go get their books, read up on them. Do all that then, because you'll be solidified in who you are, and then you can grow in your art form.
I remember I went to a show when I was early in my poetry thing. Her name was Israel Light. Remember her?
Yes.
Oh my God. And I remember hearing her the first time I heard her, and she started singing and spitting and singing. And I was like, man, I wish I could sing like her.
Yes.
Then I remember hearing Nairobi at that same event. Nairobi, the poet, and Nairobi, the hip hop artist. And I was like, man, I want to sound like her.
Right.
Like in the beginning, you're trying to figure out. And I was like, but that's not what I do.
Right.
I like erotic poetry.
Right.
First time I did erotic poetry, my ears got red, my ears got hot, my face got red. I could barely get through the poem. And I was like, oh my God, I can't finish this. And somebody in the audience said, no, finish the poem.
Yes.
Finish it. And with my face red and embarrassed as all shit, I spit that poem.
Yes.
And everybody gave me that ovation. And I was like, oh, I like this. This is what I like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And plus, we don't need an imitation so-and-so. We need a real you.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, number 13. How has your poetry evolved over the years?
I think it's gotten, like you said, you looked at some stuff and you're like, oh, what garbage? I found some old stuff. I was like, oh, that's some garbage, Kim. Let's say it with me. Garbage.
It's not garbage. It's just we were coming into ourselves.
Right. And we're our own worst critics, for those of you who aren't poets. So it wasn't truly garbage, but we're just so picky. That's, just
And
judgment of ourselves.
I've even taken one or two of those old pieces and kind of
Yes.
it.
Yes, I've done that too. And be like, hey, this ain't too bad. I just need to zaza it up a bit, and it could be something. But I think I've evolved in a way like the 2 people poems or the 3 people poems, because I didn't even consider that. There was no consideration for making it outside of just straight writing.
Yes.
And also getting into haiku. I never heard of haiku for a few years back. And then a friend of mine did it open mic. I'm like, what is that? So I went home and looked it up. Please look it up for yourself, people. Stop hearing 1 or 2 things at an event and then thinking that's it. I mean, people will tell me, oh, it's 17 words. It's 17 syllables.
It's 17 syllables.
It's not words.
17 words.
Right. Look it up. Look it up for yourself so you know. So anyway, so I said, I wasn't going to do traditional, not only traditional, but that's only a nature I really want to do on any subject. Now, so I did non-traditional haiku. Now, I would have never gone in traditional or non-traditional haiku because it's so structured, 17 syllables. I liked free writing. Right. So that was a big evolution for me to go into, okay, I'm going to try this and see. And I really want to make a point of being good at it, not just writing it and be like, because, that's the point. If I'm yawning at it, you're going to be yawning at it. I don't care if you're not. In my mind, you are, so you're never going to hear it. Right. So I have to love it, and then I'll try it with you. So I did that with a few, and I'm like, wow, people really like these. And now I've become, known for my haiku. Wow. And I was never going to write. So you just never know.
Let me hear a haiku. Let me hear one of your haikus.
Okay. Haiku. Milkshakes may bring boys to the yard, but real men are going to want food.
I'm here looking at my phone because I know I have one. I can't find it. I'm trying to see if I could.
Another one. Let's see. Haiku.
Give me another one.
How come super is a man, but we have to wonder about woman?
Repeat that again.
Yes. Haiku. How come super is a man, but we have to wonder about woman? Superman, Wonder Woman.
That's dope. That's dope. I like that. That's dope. I have a nasty one here. Hot, sticky, sweaty, and beaming on my tanned face. Summer, I love you.
Wow. Go ahead.
That's you know how old that piece is? And I'm like, I just be finding these little, let me see. I have another one. What's this one? No, that's the wrong one. I have a few of them.
Yes.
These are all. Give me another one.
Okay, haiku. Why don't you sit with your victories like you sit with your failures? Ooh. Well,
I got one more too.
Okay.
Haiku number 5. Rose-colored glasses, clear as day, easy to see. I'd rather be blind.
Ooh. Yes.
I don't know why I wrote that. It had to be over some dude. It had to be. It had to be. Because, a lot of my, I don't know about you, but a lot of my poems are like pieces of my life.
Yes.
That I've embellished on. And you never know. It'd be like, was that something, and it's something you experienced, like you'll never know.
Exactly.
You'll never know.
That's why I tell people, poets write on other people's pain.
Yep, that's right. All right, number 14. How do you approach the editing process for your poems? Or do you even edit your poems like that?
I do edit. Sometimes it's based on, like, I'll write it and I'll say, this should come out. And then I'll go to perform it and they'll be like, all right, good. I'm like, I was going to take that whole section out. Really? Really? What are you listening to?
And they love it. Right. So now you got to leave it in there.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm like, okay. So sometimes I perform it, not for again, I told you, don't play for the applause that snaps. Right. But sometimes we perform it for y'all to get out of our own way, to get out of our own head, because we'll be like, this is some crap. Let me just say it and see, get the audience to see what the audience feels about it. And if y'all like, throwing shoes and stuff, and we're like, I wasn't even going to say this crap. Okay.
Right.
I'm over judging myself. So now I get to pull myself back and say, okay, you're doing it. You're doing it.
Right. Like I have a couple of signature pieces, as they call them, and they be spitting the poem with me.
Yes.
They know the poppy. Like, damn, I forgot that line, and my niece will say something like, "Auntie, it was blah blah blah." I'm like, "Oh, okay, now start from the beginning." I'm like, "Oh shit."
Exactly. People, y'all don't know how hard that is. When we get in the flow and we get to a line, it's one thing to go back a line, but when you say start from the beginning, I know for y'all it's like you want to hear it and it's great, but for us it's like my brain has to wholly get. It's like starting a car.
Exactly. I don't want to go back and start over. Let me just finish. That when they say you get to a certain line and they're like, "Oh shit, say that again, say that again." No, nigga, because I won't remember what I'm supposed to say. No, let me just say my poem. I can't do that. Go back 2 lines. I can't, because I'll forget the whole poem. I'll forget I forgot what I'm saying. I forget where I'm at. You know. But I love it. I mean, it's so cool. All right, number 15. How do you approach the editing process of your? Is that twice?
Oh, we skipped 14.
Okay. Are there any unconventional sources of inspiration that influence your poetry?
Unconventional sources. I'm gonna say no. I tend to write about stuff that gets me mad. I don't consider that unconventional. Most poets do that because, they say you never date a poet, you end up in a poem. So that's true. Life situations, obviously we watch the news, poets watch the news and, get influenced by that like everybody else. So I don't consider that. I haven't watched it lately because, so I don't consider it unconventional sources. I think that probably would be normal everyday things that just happen. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so I skipped over number 15. I don't have my glasses on. I really can't see what the fuck I'm doing right now.
No problem.
Okay, number 16, final question. What projects or themes are you currently exploring in your writing?
Right now I'm in the middle of editing and formatting 2 haiku books. I have I have poems and haiku books, but people are like, "What's your haiku book?" I'm like, okay, Kim, it's time for you to finally just do a haiku only book. So I'm in the process of editing and formatting those 2 books now, so I can get them out at the same time. One will be family friendly, and one will be not family friendly.
Okay.
So that's what I'm working on now, because and it'll be several hundred in each one, because since I've never done one, I'm like, I'm just gonna put different things, different chapters with different titles or themes on it. So it's just not gonna be a book of haiku and you just keep flipping. I want you to say, I want to look at this theme today. I want to look at things that inspire me. You go for that. I want to look at, she about to tell somebody off. I want to look at that. So it'll be based on that. And that's what I'm looking at now. I'm also looking at writing a, stage play on women in the Bible. And I started on Sarah. And I have to finalize that because I would really love to get it done next year.
Okay. Wow. Thank you, girl.
Yes.
Where can they find you?
Absolutely. You can definitely go by my website, which is Kim, just the letter B, not the word B, KimBMiller.com. And that has all my information, where I'll be performing, all my books and all that good stuff.
Your email address, anything you want to,
absolutely.
Book, where can they get your book at when it's, are you almost finished the book yet?
Yes, almost. I'm at formatting, which is if you do your own books and self-publishing, formatting is a beast. That's the worst part.
Yes.
That is the worst
part. You gotta get the lines right. And it's horrible. I did 3 books. It was horrible.
Yes. It is torturous almost. I understand why that's the most expensive part if you have it outsourced. That's why I do it inside, because 2 books, they be really knocking me over the head with the price. So I'm like, I'll do it myself. But yes, my email address is Kim at kimbmiller.com.
Okay.
And as far as a lot of social media sites, I'm normally I am Kim B. Miller.
Okay.
But again, you can find all that. My YouTube channel is I am Kim B. Miller. But you can find the link for all of that at my website.
Cool. Girl, thank you so much.
It's so good to see you.
Good to see you. It's so good to see you. I'm so happy we got to chit chat and stuff, and my people got to know you.
Yes.
And I got to catch up with you and see what you've been doing. Because I've been like, what y'all doing? What you been doing? What is going on with everybody? Because I'm not. I don't be around a lot of people, so it's like when I catch, I'm like, yo, hello.
That's right.
Tag, you're it. It's time.
Definitely.
Definitely. But it's so good. So let me log out of this thing and don't hang up because we're gonna chat for a minute. But let me just say goodbye to everybody. And thank you so much, girl. I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Hold on. Okay, babe. Well, everybody, you got to hear my girl Kim B. Miller. She is dope. Make sure you follow her on her social media, and because she's amazing. She is so amazing. So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Again, Uptown with Mona every Monday night at 7 p.m. on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and on Thursday, Uptown withoutwarningradio.com at 6 p.m. And don't forget, December 16th, 2024 at Comedy in Harlem on 147th and St. Nicholas at 7 p.m. The Naughty List Mocha Lounge reunion. We getting it in. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be fun. It's going to be real adulting that night. So, and what happens there stays there. So everybody could just hang out and be themselves and let your hair down. But again, have a good night, y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later, and I'll see y'all next week. So it's about that time. Later, y'all. Peace and hair grease. And that's a wrap for today's show, y'all. Thanks again for tuning in to Uptown with Mona. Be sure to join us again next week for another exciting episode. Until then, I'm your host, Mona Baudet, and I'm saying peace and love. Have a wonderful day.